Welcome to teachers. This is the second video of the first chapter of chemistry of class 10. We will discuss chemical equations. The method of representing a chemical reaction with the help of symbols and formulae of the substances involved is known as a chemical equation. Let us take one example to understand the meaning of a chemical equation clearly. Zinc metal reacts with dilute sulfuric acid to form zinc sulfate and hydrogen gas. This reaction can be written in words as zinc plus sulfuric acid gives zinc sulfate plus hydrogen. This is known as a word equation. We can change this word equation to a chemical equation by writing the symbols and formulae of the various substances in place of their names. Now, symbol of zinc is Zn, formula of sulfuric acid is H2SO4, formula of zinc sulfate is ZnSO4, and formula of hydrogen is H2. So putting the symbols and formulae of all the substances in the above word equation, we get zinc plus sulfuric acid gives zinc sulfate and hydrogen. The substances which combine or react are known as reactants. So zinc and sulfuric acid are reactants. The reactants are always written on the left hand side in an equation with a plus sign between them. The new substances produced in a reaction are known as products. Zinc sulfate and hydrogen are the products in this case. The products are always written on the right hand side in an equation with a plus sign between them. The arrow sign pointing towards the right hand side is put between the reactants and products. This arrow indicates that the substances written on the left hand side are combining to give the substances written on the right hand side. It should be clear by now that a chemical equation is a shorthand method of representing a chemical reaction. Balanced and unbalanced chemical equations. A balanced chemical equation has an equal number of atoms of different elements in the reactants and products. In other words, a balanced equation has an equal number of atoms of the different elements on both the sides. This point will become more clear from this example. So zinc reacts with dilute sulfuric acid to give zinc sulfate and hydrogen. This can be written in equation form as, let us count the number of atoms of all the elements in the reactants and products separately. Number of zinc atoms in reactants is 1, in products is also 1. Number of hydrogen atoms in reactants as well as products are 2. The number of sulfur atoms, again 1 in the reactant and 1 in the product. Number of oxygen atoms, 4 in reactants and 4 in products. We find that the reactants contain 1 zinc atom and the product also contains 1 zinc atom. Reactants contain 2 hydrogen atoms and the product also contains 2 hydrogen atoms. Similarly, reactant contains 1 sulfur atom and products also contain 1 sulfur atom. And finally, reactants contain 4 oxygen atoms and the products also contain 4 oxygen atoms. So by repeating, it is clear, I assume. Thus, there is an equal number of atoms of different elements in the reactants and products. So the above chemical equation is a balanced equation. Since the number of atoms of various elements in reactants and products is equal, we can say that a balanced chemical equation has equal masses of various elements in reactants and products. Once again, a balanced chemical equation has equal masses of various elements in reactants and products. An unbalanced chemical equation has an unequal number of atoms of one or more elements in the reactants and products. In other words, an unbalanced equation has an unequal number of atoms of one or more elements on its two sides. This point will become more clear from this example. Hydrogen reacts with oxygen to form water. This reaction can be written in an equation form as H2 plus O2 gives H2. Let us count the number of hydrogen atoms and oxygen atoms in the reactants as well as products. In this equation, though the number of hydrogen atoms is equal in reactants and products, that is 2 each, but the number of oxygen atoms is unequal. There are 2 oxygen atoms on the left hand side, but only 1 oxygen atom on the right hand side. The chemical equation contains an unequal number of oxygen atoms in reactants and products, so it is an unbalanced equation. Since the number of atoms of various elements in reactants and products is unequal, we can say that an unbalanced equation has unequal masses of various elements in reactants and products. Once again, an unbalanced chemical equation has unequal masses of various elements in reactants and products. The equation H2 plus O2 giving H2O contains 2 oxygen atoms in the reactants but only 1 oxygen atom in the product. It appears as if 1 oxygen atom has been destroyed in the chemical reaction. This is, however, not possible because according to the law of conservation of masses, matter can neither be created nor destroyed even in a chemical reaction. This means that the total mass of all the reactants must be equal to the total mass of the products. In other words, we can say that the number of various types of atoms in reactants must be equal to the number of the same type of atoms in the products. It is obvious that we have to make the number of different types of atoms equal on both sides of a chemical equation. To make the number of different types of atoms equal in reactants and products is known as balancing of an equation. It should be noted that the chemical equations are balanced to satisfy the law of conservation of mass in chemical reactions. The reaction between hydrogen and oxygen to form water can be written as H2 plus O gives H2O. Because oxygen occurs in the form of O2 molecules and not as atoms O, so that is not possible. All the substances have definite formulae which cannot be altered. So we should never change the formula of an element or a compound to balance an equation. So H2 plus O is H2O is not possible. We can only multiply a symbol or a formula by figures like 2, 3, 4, etc. It will be good to note that the elements which exist as diatomic molecules are oxygen, O2, hydrogen, H2, nitrogen, N2, fluorine, F2, chlorine, Cl2, bromine, Br2, and iodine, I2. All other elements are usually considered as monoatomic in equation, writing and represented by their symbols. We will now learn the balancing of chemical equations. The process of making the number of different types of atoms equal on both sides of an equation is called balancing of chemical equation. This will be discussed in detail in the next session.